Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Metro Outer Development Assessment Panel meeting today. Part A, introduction. I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting, and I declare the meeting open at exactly 9:30 a.m. I acknowledge we are hosting this meeting on the traditional land of the Wadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. We acknowledge the Aboriginal people as traditional custodians of Western Australia, pay respect to elders past and present, and the ongoing connection between people, land, waters, and community. This meeting will be run in accordance with the DAP Standing Orders 2024 under the DAP Regulations 2011. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the DAP website in accordance with Regulation 42A of the DAP Regulations. Panel members may refer to technical devices throughout the meeting to assist them in considering the information before them. Before we go further, I'd like to introduce our members present today. My name is Dale Page. I'm the presiding member today. In the room with me, I have Clayton Hyam, who is our deputy presiding member today. Jackie German online today is our specialist member. And we have our councillor members from the City of Wanneroo, Councillor Bronwyn Smith and Councillor Jackie Huntley. Welcome to you both. Item 2, apologies. We have nil for today. Members on leave of absence, nil. Noting of minutes, all previous minutes of all meetings are available on our DAP website. Moving on to Part B, the City of Wanneroo, declaration of due consideration. Panel members need to have considered all the documentation contained within Part B of the agenda and the related information that was uploaded to the DAP website. Could I please confirm by a show of hands that this is the case? Thank you. Disclosures of interest. I haven't received any declarations of interest to this point. Could I check with local government members whether this item went before you at a council briefing or a council meeting?
No.
No? Great. All right. So do any members have any interests they'd like to declare? None. Thank you very much. Moving then on to item 3, which is our Form 1 DAP application on the agenda today. Lot 1022, 150 St Andrews Drive, Yanchep, a proposed childcare premises. We have one presenter on this item today, Carlo Famiano from CF Town Planning. He's speaking in favour of the recommendation in the report. I believe we also have the landowner present, Michael Knowles, to assist with questions. Carlo, I remind you that in accordance with our DAP standing orders, your presentation is limited to 3 minutes. We've read all the information you've sent through, so I will call you to time when you get close. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, panel members, staff and councillors. As you've said, we've sent through some information just outlining the proposed development and the process that we've gone through with this application. The application itself, just to give you a bit of an overview in the presentation, is to provide a childcare premises with 92 children. The subject site is well located just south of the Yanchep Activity Centre in a very fast growing residential area or part of the metropolitan area. We're abutting a golf course to the east, multiple dwellings and group dwellings to the south. We've got residential to the west, so we've got a fairly good walkable catchment for parents to utilise this facility. And we have great and very good access to public transport. I'll start off with saying we're supportive of the recommendation provided by the City of Wanneroo to approve this application. We've gone through the conditions, and so has the designer gone through the conditions. So we don't raise any key issues with those conditions that have been imposed in the recommendation. They seem to be fairly standard with other applications that we've done in the past for similar type developments. We're aware of that during the public consultation period. There were a number of objections received, by total 12 objections. I think it was 12 submissions of objection, yeah. We went through all of those objections, and where possible, we made some changes to the design layout of the development, as well as dealing with some of the items and issues that the City of Wanneroo identified during the assessment process. We made a number of changes to make sure that this development not only addressed those requirements by the City of Wanneroo, but we did our best to try and appease some of those comments made during the advertising period. As you'll appreciate, some of the comments during the advertising period, quite a few of them were planning related. We still made responses to those just to sort of let those objectors know that we're coming from and why we're proposing this development. Looking at the planning framework, it is a discretionary use within the zone. Childcare centres are regularly approved within residential areas, and it certainly has great access to public transport and a good walkable catchment and a residential population. So on a planning viewpoint, it's an ideal location for this childcare centre. Just in regards to...
You are nearing time, so I'll ask.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just conclude then by saying we're supportive of the recommendation. We've done a lot of work for this application to get to this point and address those key issues that were raised during the assessment period. We believe there's merit in this application, and we hope that the panel sees merit in it also and grants approval for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Panel members, are there any questions of this presenter? Councillor Smith, do you have any questions? No? Councillor Huntley, do you have any questions of this presenter? Can't hear you, sorry. No? No, okay. Any other panel members have questions of this presenter?
I've just got one. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, I'm just interested. I was looking at the submissions. There was a lot of mention regarding traffic. So it's just interesting in the discussions between yourself and the city on how you resolve those issues and yeah, basically that.
Yes, thank you, Councillor. We had provided a traffic report and that had been revised and addressed issues. The city's engineering department also reviewed that traffic report and didn't identify any key issues with the road network. I think some of the submissions in regards to traffic were relating to the fact that St Andrews Drive wasn't suitable to carry additional traffic. The traffic report and the city's engineers identified that the road network is capable of accommodating the additional traffic. There were some changes also done to the way in which we collected waste on site. Originally, we were reversing the truck from the street on site. That was identified as an issue that potentially with traffic movements along the street. So we've changed that. And the waste management plan looks at on-site turning during low peak periods or prior to the childcare premises operating. So that we're not reversing. So the truck is entering in a forward gear, exiting in a forward gear. So we addressed that issue. There were some, we had to redesign the on-street parking bays. That was also identified. I think some of the objectors identified that as an issue, as well as the city's engineering department. So we made amendments to the design to make sure that it satisfied the city's engineering department.
Any other questions, Jackie?
No, thank you.
Oh, you mentioned the waste management plan.
Yes.
I was interested in the operational management plan and how that deals with the waste management, because I think from my reading of it, the waste management would be collected during the middle of the day, but not peak periods, obviously.
Yeah.
But would require access to staff bays for the turning circle. So I couldn't see in the operational management plan how that might work.
Yeah, the operational management plan gets massaged a bit later on once the operator has, because at the moment the landowner's consulting with the operator or potential operator. But once that operator is once this approval has been granted, they'll obviously take the centre on. They'll produce their own operational management plan, which will deal with how they operate their centres. Now, in the past, we've done many of these where we've had on-site turning for waste trucks, and we tend to make sure that we locate staff bays away from where the turning areas are, and they will be actually labelled within the operational management plan for the centre, that staff only use X amount of bays, then the rest are full parent pickup, and those and the waste management collection is undertaken during periods of where parents are dropping off and picking up kids. So those bays are vacant. So it will be a situation where in the operational management plan, we have staff bays that are not impacted by turning. And then those vacant bays are the ones that are used for turning. We've done that on many occasions through a number of applications.
Any other questions? No, all right. I don't have any questions of the presenter. Moving then on to our local government officers. We have Rayleigh Howden and Greg Bowring with us from the City of Wanneroo for this item. Are there any questions any member would like to ask the city officers? Councillor Smith? No? Councillor Huntley? So, sorry, we can't hear you, Councillor.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. The only thing I would have probably made a comment on was the waste truck, but that's just been answered, so that's fine.
All good. Do any other members, Jackie or Clayton, wish to ask the city staff any questions?
No.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Be interested in the city's response to the applicant's proposal, I guess noting that most waste collections happen very early in the morning, what the practicality of that is and how you feel that you can manage that with considering the operator hasn't been selected as yet.
Thank you. So their option there is through a commercial contract for collections. So they'll be able to arrange pick-up and removal of waste through a commercial contractor and be expected to, through that management process, to pick a contractor that can pick up when they're not using those bays. So that's their operational requirement to meet that condition.
Any other questions, Jackie?
No, thanks.
Okay, I just have a few minor questions, if you don't mind, Greg. Would you, so condition 14 relates to the schedule of colours and materials. Would you be happy for us to amend that condition to include the wording to the satisfaction of the city at the end of the condition? Because you talk about it being implemented, yes?
Yes, I think that would be appropriate.
Okay. Condition 15 requires graffiti to be removed, but it doesn't specify a time frame within which this needs to occur. Do your conditions usually include a time frame?
Yes, we have generally provided a time frame of 7 days. That's been debated ad nauseum by the JDAP over the last year or two when it's raised. Our standard is 7 days, but the main reason for removing that was the view that we can still take compliance action at any time. It's not going to mean that someone is non-compliant with the condition simply because there is graffiti on the building. That'll come along if they, that'll be addressed if they fail to remove it in a negotiated time frame.
Okay, thank you for that. Condition 19 mentions that the date of the Herring Storer acoustic report is September 2023. Is that correct? Was that report submitted as part of the original DA, or is that a typo?
No, that is the correct date. It has been amended since then, but
the date was unchanged.
But the date remained unchanged. Okay.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much. Last question from me. So condition 20 requires submission of a further environmental noise assessment before occupancy to confirm the premises meets the requirements of the noise regs. Wouldn't you need the facility to be properly operational before this could be accurately determined, or is the purpose of that assessment really just to test the impact of mechanical equipment and so on?
Yes, that's correct. That's a post-construction condition for the applicant to demonstrate they have met the I guess the numbers that the noise modelling suggested that it should operate at. So if there's an imbalance, but if they exceed the noise levels in the as constructed, then they'll have to take action to bring those noise levels down.
Thank you for that. I have no more questions. Does the City of Wanneroo want to add anything in response to any issues that have been raised?
No, other than just the traffic issue, obviously, as St Andrews Drive is will be a major connector into the Yanchep city centre, and while this development will increase traffic on St Andrews Drive, it will be orders of magnitude, less than what will happen in the next 10 to 20 years with the development of the Yanchep city centre and all the commercial and as a strategic regional centre. So St Andrews Drive will be addressed, its operation will be addressed going forward as development occurs around Yanchep. But this development in itself will not impede the current operation of St Andrews Drive.
Thank you. Excellent, thank you. I think we will then move on to the report itself. You've got the report in front of you, members, recommending approval. Can I seek a mover and seconder for the recommendation in the report in front of you? Does anyone wish to move the recommendation? Sorry, Councillor Huntley, thank you. Does anyone wish to second? Clayton-Heim, thank you very much. Councillor Huntley, as mover, would you like to speak to the motion?
To say the report was very thorough. I was concerned with the residents' comments, but I did see that there was actually an application prior to this, and their comments were coming from there in the main. I did note that there were improvements made from the applicant because of those comments, and yeah, I'm happy with the waste. Just to clarify that everything on the recommendations or the conditions, there's lots of dates in here. February 25, and of course that other date that's now been clarified. Just to check that because we're doing this, have these things been actually done? So we've got 18 staff car parking spaces, town planning development day-to-day. Oh no, sorry, that was fine to the satisfaction. We've done that. 14, we've done 50. Yeah, so no, I'm happy, and I'm really happy to see that change in the graffiti, that the 7 days has been removed, because that was an impossible thing, and it did put applicants in breach of their contracts. So that's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clayton. Our seconder, anything you'd like to say?
Yes, thank you, presiding member. Look, I also note the community's concerns, and they've expressed them quite strongly in terms of traffic and access, and in some cases noise and compatibility within the residential zone. I guess I've seen a lot of childcare centres come through the DAPs in the recent past, and of all of this is probably the best located of the ones that I've seen. It is compatible within this residential zone. It is well sited for minimum disturbance. It fits well into the residential context, and it's well designed and has a very good parking layout. So in my view, with the conditions that have been in or will be imposed, it will operate in a very successful way. I therefore support it wholeheartedly.
Thank you very much. Does any other member wish to speak for or against the motion? Jackie German?
Yeah, I'm happy to support the officer's recommendation. It sounds like it's been a good collaborative process with the officers and the applicant to achieve a good outcome, and as mentioned, in a good location.
Great, thank you very much. Councillor Smith, would you like to speak for or against? No? Okay. Before I speak to the primary motion, I'd like to move just that one very minor amendment to amend condition 14 to include the wording "to the satisfaction of the city" at the end of the condition. Do I have a seconder for that amendment? Thank you, Clayton-Heim. Reason being for the amendment, it just makes it clear that the City of Wanneroo will determine whether the condition can be cleared so that there's no ambiguity or uncertainty at that point. Is there any dissent to that amendment? No? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Going back to the primary motion, I'm happy to support the recommendation for approval. Although the proposed use is a discretionary use in the residential zone, I feel that the report adequately demonstrates that the proposal satisfies the objectives of the residential zone and has been designed to minimise impacts on surrounding residential uses. Specifically, I feel the facility has been designed to integrate well with the siting and build form of nearby residential development and to minimise any noise impacts on nearby neighbours. I'm comfortable that the traffic impact statement provided with the application demonstrates that the surrounding road network can comfortably accommodate any traffic movement generated by the development and that the parking on site and within the adjoining verge will be more than adequately catered for any demand. I note that there were some objections to the proposal and I have read all of those thoroughly, but I think these have been appropriately addressed in the report and via the recommended conditions of approval. So happy to support. With that, I will hand back to the mover. Is there anything you would like to add to close, Councillor Huntley?
No, thank you.
All good. All right, let's put the recommendation to the vote by a show of hands. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 4, Form 2 DAP applications. There are nil for this meeting. Item 5, Section 31 SAT reconsiderations, also nil. Part C, other business, SAT applications and Supreme Court appeals. All SAT applications for the DAP are listed on the DAP website, none of which currently relate to the City of Wanneroo. With that, I close the meeting at 9:52 a.m. and thank everyone for your attendance.